Hi, it's Balázs from Alpha Forever here, and this is AFNoding number 33, and today we are going to build a filter. And yeah, it's going to be a filter, but without the scientific part, so it's going to be more intuitive, and I hope it will help you to understand how a filter works. So this video is more about making it clear how we can build a filter, and it's not about how to create the best filter ever. So I think it's going to be more than just the usual explanation that there is low pass and high pass and band pass and stuff like this, but I hope it's going to be interesting. So first things first, I'm going to create an LFO, and this LFO won't function like an LFO. It's going to be our signal generator, and this is what our test signal is going to be. And if I plug this into a gain in and create an output, I mute it because you don't want to hear this. You just want to see what it does. And welcome my cat. Like it. He's called Naspoja. Anyways, this is what we want to have. We have a straight line on our spectrum because here we are creating one sample long bursts of audio that contains all the frequencies for that one sample. That's no cheating, that's how it works. Okay, how do we create the most simple filter ever? It's pretty basic. We just need to add the previous sample, and I'm using the delay here because that way it's going to be visible for sure. And I need a delay that's one sample long, so I take the sample rate node, plug it here, plug it there, and voila. This is a basic filter. And if we divide it by 2, but since multiplication is faster, multiply by 0.5, you can see that this is really a filter. It's the same amplitude as the original signal. And you can believe me, at the half of the Nyquist frequency is the half of the sample rate. So at the middle way to the Nyquist, at 11 kHz here, we have a -33 dB cut. So the amplitude is here lower by 3 decibels. So it's exactly half as loud as the original signal. But we don't need to always use the delay node because it would be a waste of memory. This makes room for 5 seconds, which we don't need. We only need a sample delay. So we use this previous node, and voila. And that's the way it goes. This is the most basic filter ever. But to make it clear why this works, I've prepared a small animation where you can see that if we have a sine wave and that has a low frequency, almost 0, and if we compare it to the delayed version, so with the one that is delayed by a sample, then we can see that when we raise the frequency, and on this graph the sine wave stays static, so we follow the frequency, then the amount of the delay is getting bigger and bigger. So compared to the original signal, the delay looks like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and until in the end we completely change the phase of the delayed signals, so they cancel each other out. And that's the trick behind filters. And we can build on this idea, because if we do not want to so if we want to have a filter that can move the cutoff and it's a bit more flexible, then this is the structure that we want to use. And if we use feedbacks, they create a one sample delay. So if I plug these back into the add node, we have a one sample delay here. And we have to count with that. And if I multiply this by a value between 0 and 1, then I plug this in, you can see that we are boosting low frequencies because we always add a signal that's already filtered to the original one. And that means a low frequency boost. So we have to work against this boost to really have a filter. And in this case, we only have to subtract the cutoff, because this is cutoff, from 1. And if I plug this in, boom, this is nothing else than a one-pole filter. So this is one-pole, simple one-pole filter. I like to change these values to 1 and 0, and I can move it along. This really is a proper one-pole filter. And we can make it more steep. If we want to make it, so if we want to change the steepness, we simply create another feedback here. So we filter again, plug it there, and you can see that our volume changed a lot. So I take this to the square, and bam. This is a steeper filter, so this is still not two-pole, this is just two filters after each other. And we can work it further like this, like bam. Let's use 4. Like this. And you can see that the filter got more and more steep. And we can simply multiply this again. And voila. This is a pretty steep low-pass filter, but we have no resonance at all. How do we get a resonant filter? We need to subtract the output of the filter. So this value comes out from here. And we create a feedback around the whole thing. And plug it there. And let's hope this won't crash. It didn't. And you can see there is a bump already, so this works nicely, but let me constrain the cutoff to values that I know that work. So the lowest value should be 0.99 and the highest 0.2. So this way we won't do stuff we don't want to have. And we can raise the resonance to 4 even. And you see, there we have the resonance. It can be 0.999 anyways. 0.99 is enough. So yeah, you can see that we have a filter that, let's make it 0.999. Yeah, it works. We have a filter that's that you might know already for somewhere, because if you take a look at it, we have 4 one-pole filters after each other, and we feed them back and subtract it from the original signal. So it's this is nothing else than a Moog ladder filter. So if I create an oscillator, plug it there, create a MIDI node, use the pitch, create an ADSR, and if I do a simple synth like this, and if I hit some keys, some volume, And it's better if I plug in my headphones, then maybe I even will hear it. So yeah, it's resonating like mad. And yeah, I'm sure this is not the best Moog ladder filter ever, but it's the naive version and it works well in this case. But we still can do a bit more because that's the compensation part and this is the feedback part. So let's say we want to add some distortion to the feedback path. We can plug in a 10H function there. Sorry, I'm messing around. And if I play this now, it will have a completely different sound. And I can also raise the resonance. And this way we get self-oscillation. Which happens because of this 10H distorter, distorts the waveform to something like a sine wave, so it's like a wave shaper. And since this feedback wants to go to hell because of we have lots of resonance, it always shapes the signal, the feedback path to a sine wave that's between good values, so it's never distorted signals turn into a sine wave, which is nice in a feedback. And this way we can have self-oscillation. And once again, this whole thing is the naive approach to create a Moog ladder style filter. It has drawbacks because you see we have cutoff between 0.999 and 0.2, so what values are these? Okay, basically they are between 0 and 1, but how do I know on which frequency they work? And it's not that hard to find out. And we can get pretty close to something that's acceptable. So it's not good, but it's acceptable if we simply try to approximate the frequency, because that's a CPU heavy calculation, and for real-time applications I won't suggest to use the bilinear transform that you can find if you look after it. It's pretty well documented around the net. But let me create the LFO once again, which I deleted. And I shouldn't have. So here's the change node. And we have our test signal back. And move this a bit more far away. Okay. And if I plug this in, then we have our test signal back. And we can look for what frequency we are on. This is about 21. So I create a rescaler GUI node, and if the cutoff is on 0.999, then we want if it's on 21, then we want to output 0.999, and if it's on 0.2, then we want to output, let's say, it should be somewhere around 18 kilohertz, or somewhere, and this is going to be 0.2. And if I put a knob here, and if I put a cone here, and plug this guy in, and call this frequency, and if it's between, and I want to clamp the rescaler, so if it's in between 21 and 18,000 Hertz, then I can move around and have a filter that's probably okay. But yeah, here we are on 3000 Hertz and it says 1000 Hertz, and if we go lower it's even worse. So we are at 470 and this says 140 about. So we have to scale these, and it's not that hard. So if I subtract the output, no. I create another rescaler GUI, and if it's on 21 then I say it's 0, and if it's on high then I say 1. So, and if I subtract this from 1 and multiply it by itself and subtract the result from 1, then I have an inverted. So if I simply multiply the output of this rescaler, then our curve would look like this, this. And now that I subtracted it from 1 and subtracted the result, it's going to look like this. So it's not an exponential, but sorry, I don't know the word. I'm not a mathematician and I'm not native English, so excuse me for this. But now we can see that if we have 0 here and 1 there, then we should be fine, like this. And yeah, this is an approximation still. So this is 470, and this says something like 280-ish. But if we are on 4800, that's almost. It's pretty far away, but on 8000 it's 6000, so it has a constant offset. So probably if I would play with the rescaler bit, I would be closer, but it's not that bad. So it could be a lot for us, and I think this can be used as a synth now. So we have a cutoff frequency here. We have a fake frequency calculation, and I can plug in the synth again. Let me move away the tester, and I can play it. And well, I still would not trust this to do keyboard tracking, but look, this is a filter, this works, could be a lot better. So it's not a zero delay feedback Moog, it's not the perfect Moog, but it's a 4P ladder filter, and years ago we would have been even happy with this. And it can self-oscillate. This was more a theoretical thing, and I hope it wasn't too quick, and I hope you could follow it if you were interested. I do not suggest, if you want to make music, I don't suggest you to jump into this filter train, because it can take years to understand it really in depth. Anyways, I hope you had fun watching this, and I hope you will have fun building your own filter and experimenting with filter designs. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys, and please subscribe if you had fun watching this, and happy noding. Bye bye.